Oh my God, that is so beautiful. Hi. So yesterday I started reading The Nights Are Quiet in Tehran, and I finished Bezard, Bezard's story, and today I just started his wife's story, Nahid. It's a book that's told in by three narrators with three different decades between the stories, and the style of writing allows you to not break away from the prose. So basically the conversations in places where they would be quoted, they are not. They are kind of with the stream of consciousness kind of style. I don't even know if that's how it is. It's called. When I was reading Bezard's story, I was thinking the whole time, something is gonna happen. You know, I was like holding my breath. When I think about the kind of person it takes to actually live in a war-prone area, I have so much empathy now, you know? Anyway, I'm now reading Nahid's story, which is set 10 years later. And I'm already like quite moved by it. It's so beautiful. If this book does not win the Booker Prize, I mean, I have not read the other books. I'm pretty sure everyone feels the same way about their favorite book from that list. But when I heard the narration I saw by Booker Prize on Instagram, I was like, I need that book. I need to read it. I have to read it. Anyway, I'm gonna continue reading for a bit and then do some French vocabulary and reading. Then I'm gonna see how the weather is and probably go outside to read from the park. But yeah, books are just great. I have my little red notebook. I use this for grammar points, and basically I am making this notebook such that I can have a pocketable thing that I have for reference of grammar points that I'm learning from the bigger like vocabulary books. I have both French and Dutch in this notebook, and then I have Japanese in a whole separate notebook because that one is just a whole different language. Yeah, so let's do this. Rafraîchissant. Un petit bain rafraîchissant. Prenez un bain rafraîchissant.
Prenez un bain rafraîchissant.
Prenez un bain, prenez un bain rafraîchissant. I'm tired. Well, I just finished what I had to do for the grammar today. Food. I really have to eat. I'm gonna have to make coffee first and then see what I can have for a late lunch. Okay, see you outside when we see each other next, because I will finish this and go to the park. Bye. Hi, welcome back. Today is Saturday and I'm going to finish the book that I'm currently reading. It's The Nights Are Quiet in Tehran. It is such a wonderful book. Last night I read on Nahid's story. Yeah, Nahida's story. And it's interesting to see the perspective that and the voice of the female character in this book, observing the other story that had been told at the beginning, and also adding the nuance that comes with her own experience. So there's always this idea that people have this conceived notions about someone, and when they get into that person's mind, they realize that that person is maybe very similar to how they thought, but also quite interestingly different. So I really love the storytelling. But above all, one of the things that this book makes me appreciate is enabling me to have more empathy. It gives me the ability to empathize more and see why people do certain things or seem a certain way. And I feel like that is something that if you want to be a better human, that is why fiction exists. But the best works of fiction allow you to be more than you could possibly be if you had to learn all these lessons by just being in the world, which is quite difficult now because we do not interact as much in our daily interactions. Like, we don't just go out up to strangers and start talking to them anymore. It's not that common here. Even though for me, where I come from in Kenya, my own village, people just come up to you and you talk for like 2 minutes. Like, when you go out and you're sent to go buy something, you have to also put in the idea that, I'm more likely to meet a few people and they're gonna want to speak to me for like 2-3 minutes, and tell me about their life in a very brief way, even though sometimes it might end up being a whole conversation. So fiction works allow us to really put ourselves in other people's shoes and have more empathy and understanding for how they live or what they're experiencing. But that also means that you actually have to go out of your way to interact with anyone or people you find interesting. Already 5 p.m. I should just have another cup of coffee. Yeah, and then I'll go on to reading The Nights Are Quiet in Tehran. I don't think I'm gonna be able to do a whole review thing on Instagram or anywhere. I don't know how that works, really. It's such a difficult thing to do, you know? You can tell someone that a book is not good, but what does that even mean, you know? I've seen people talk about A Little Life, for example, by Hanya. So A Little Life, and some people have said things like, it is such a horrible book. It's trauma, what do they call it? Trauma dumping. And I read the book and I really, really loved it. But here's the thing. The power in that book lies in the fact that when you read it, you will feel something. You will feel pain. You will feel anger. You will feel a lot of empathy. You will feel so much empathy that as you read the book, because it's such a big book and you are with these characters for like a long time and you have these flashbacks, so you kind of get a sense of someone's whole experience in a book. And when you're reading it, you're like shocked, and then you become someone else. You're transformed by the work of fiction. You might even say that despite the fact that it's a work of fiction, it makes you feel like this could possibly be someone out there. And you feel so much pain and empathy, and you cry. You cry so hard, you just break down. I think that's a powerful book. If a book makes you break down in that way, it is a powerful book. But we have to be quite cautious to think that when people recommend books to others, that's such a difficult thing to do. You can say a book is great, and someone else has to go read that book and look for that greatness themselves, whatever is great about that book. Because you're coming in not as a blank page, you're not an empty journal, you're coming in reading this book. It has to come into you too, you with yourself and your person. You read this book and it impacts you because you're not a blank page anyway. So there's so many nuances when reading books that allow us to either really hate a book or really appreciate a book. But I just hope that people would have more of an open mind and curiosity towards books. I know there's a huge, there's also like a huge, there's a big group of people who also think, and say that, yeah, life's too short, I will DNF a book. I think that's a great way to look at it. Sometimes some books can be so tedious and so annoying that you would want to not finish the book, and that's okay. Unfinished books have a purpose in your life. You learned what doesn't work when you do not finish a book, and that's okay. So I would say recommending books is such a difficult thing. Maybe I'm overthinking this. Maybe other people have figured this out and I haven't. But I always say, if I tell you my favorite book is this, and I explain to you why I think it's such a wonderful book, maybe you'll see the point and maybe you might be curious about it. So you might read it, you might never read it, but that's enough for me. I think sharing the knowledge of how you felt about a book is so important either way, no matter what the result or outcome is. Because even for yourself, you're able to verbalize these things that these books do to you. So yeah, I think that's enough talking. I have a little cake that I need to eat and I need to drink coffee and then finish reading The Nights of Quiet in Tehran. Okay, I had to pause a little bit and look up how historically accurate the Nights Are Quiet in Tehran book is, and it actually is quite accurate because it's based on a real timeline and real experiences of the author's parents who experienced this kind of state of being displaced and also being part of the movement of the first revolution in Iran. Then there's a sudden burst of music, a blare of trumpets from the band, fanfare like full of feeling and so loud it drowns out everything else. It settles into the usual rhythm, familiar to me since childhood, settles into that upbeat, beautiful music and the melody I now realize I'm so glad to hear. And then the verses begin and the singing, the people sing along. I don't like or dislike national anthems. I'm indifferent to them. But this one sounds like a song from childhood that everyone is fond of. I can't sing the words, don't know them, have never properly understood them. Tara and I stand side by side looking at the people. So many of them are similar age to my parents. And it's so long since I've seen my parents. My parents never sang the national anthem. They sang revolutionary songs. In the car, while we were going on holiday years ago. Sad songs full of pathos and struggle, but never the old anthem. I could hum along. I have the feeling my body is humming it as the sounds line up in this logical order. And the middle-aged women in front of me pump their fists into the air in time. Tara laughs. She laughs a little scornfully, like she thinks it's silly, but her eyes are shining all the same. And I in turn think that's silly. Crying is the strangest reaction you can have to an anthem. But all I say is, aren't you going to raise your fist?